to travel on board Amtrak's Desert Wind across the Great Basin of the state of Nevada, you will be passing by an old railroad junction and an old disused train station, where a branch line train connected to the outside world. For most of my life, I have lived out in this small town, hundreds of miles away from any city or large town in the state. But I am sorry to say that the Great Basin in this past of the state has a haunting past, one from which I cannot forget for the rest of my life that I live in this small town. Once upon a time, there was once a passenger train that once ran to this train station, for which it was connected to the transcontinental Southern Pacific line on the old railroad line that was built at the turn of the century in 1900 that served the small towns, factories, farms, and mines in the local mining area long before the use of cars, trucks, and buses. The passenger train on the railroad was mainly consisted of an RPO package car, a Pullman coach, and a regular passenger car. With the main motor on the car was a 6.0 1910 built locomotive. It was the most beautiful, most fastest, and the most powerful steam locomotive the railroad had ever built at that time. She was painted light gray, and she wore the number of 666, which it was the devil's number. During the locomotive's 20-year career, there have been reports of some mysterious events, but not many people in this town know about these mysterious effects about this locomotive. That is, this steam locomotive had on the townspeople in the area. When they interacted with it, some began to feel ill, dying mysteriously. Most parents didn't even let their children around the steam locomotive, feeling that the steam locomotive was cursed to them. Some people say and claim that this steam locomotive was cursed by no other than Satan himself. Personally, I think that this steam locomotive was nothing more than a devil in disguise that would charm the local people with its good looks and its style. But it would end its life very tragically on one fall evening in 1930. On the night of October 29th, 1930, during the Great Depression in the Great Basin of Nevada, the local passenger train headed by 666 was heading back to the junction for a connection with an overnight passenger train by the Southern Pacific Railroad heading towards San Francisco from Chicago. After stopping at the local junction, it was stopping at a local mining town to pick up more passengers, which were local townspeople who were living in the area. Sacks of mail for the United States Postal Service and the Railway Express Agency, as well as much-needed supplies for the local towns, factories, and farms that were in the surrounding area. But as the night wore on throughout the Great Basin, the winds began to pick up quickly and very hard as the old engine was puffing down the old line. The local passenger train departed from a lonely flag stop near a small Nevada town in the middle of nowhere that night. As the 460 began puffing along down the track through the Nevada desert evening, much of the Nevada desert life had its creatures such as desert owls, roadrunners, and even diamondback rattlesnakes, simmering in the warmth of the Nevada Great Basin desert evening. As the passengers, who were tired and hungry, traveled to the junction station on board their train, but little did they know it would have been their last trip. The passenger train plunged into the raging river below, where the bridge once stood. Most of the passengers and crew, who were mostly on board the train, mostly drowned in the river below as they tried to swim ashore on the other side of the old bridge. The railroad had its own accident investigation report, stating that due to the heavy rain from the previous day's weather and the lack of maintenance on the old trestle bridge, that caused the trestle bridge to collapse and the train to plunge into the river below, and much of the passengers and crew were drowning in the river below. But some conspiracy theories, including the TV show Unsolved Mysteries, claim that an old steam locomotive was cursed by the devil or by an evil cult member or cult group when the locomotive was being built around the 1910s. A year after the accident, the bridge was repaired and a local freight train was waiting at a siding. But as the engineer of the freight train saw a red headline in the distance, he looked ahead and saw a ghost-lined passenger train passing by on the other track, passing the freight train in the siding. And they saw the passenger train crossing over the old trestle bridge, and the rear tail marker lights shined red in the distance. After the train had crossed the bridge, he turned to his fireman, who was stoking up the fire, and he said, "I have saw the devil's steam locomotive." And on every night on the old railroad line, if you go down the old railroad track by foot, you would see an old passenger train, and the devil's 4-6 old steam locomotive with its glowing red headlight, and it will consume you, and no one will know where you have been found, dead or alive. You'll see the devil driving that long black train if you come face to face with the devil himself.